The bayou was alive that night, not with the croaks of the frogs or the rustling of the leaves, but with whispers, soft and chilling. I stood at the edge of the water, the mist curling around my feet, waiting for something. Deep in my soul, I knew this night would change everything. They say the bayou keeps secrets, but I never believed them until that evening. The fog rolled in so thick, it felt like a living thing. I stood there, my heart racing, staring into the mist as if it could swallow me whole. The whispers began softly, barely audible, but they grew louder with every passing second. My grandmother often told stories about the bayou spirits. She warned me about the whispers, their power to lure you deep into the waters. Sitting by the fire, her voice would drop to a whisper, her eyes fixed on the shadows as if the spirits were listening in. She said, "Don't ever go out there at night, May. The spirits don't take kindly to wanderers. They guard the bayou's secrets, and they don't forgive trespassers." When Tom went missing, the whole town whispered about the bayou's curse. His boat was found empty in a drift near the old cypress grove. Folks claimed they heard his voice calling from the water late at night, but no one dared to look for him except me. Drawn to the whispers, I ventured deep into the bayou. The air grew colder and the shadows stretched longer as I approached the old shack. An abandoned relic hidden among the cypress trees. They called it cursed, a place where no one stayed for long. As I stepped inside, the wood creaked beneath my weight, and a chill ran down my spine. Strange symbols were carved into the wall, each one radiating a power I couldn't explain. I should have left then, but something in the air, something in the whispers, urged me to stay. That night, the whispers followed me home, faint at first, like the rustling of the leaves, but they grew louder with every passing hour. They called my name, May, over and over again until sleep felt like a distant dream. I pressed my hands over my ears, but the sound wasn't outside, it was inside of me. When the knock came at midnight, my heart nearly stopped. I opened the door to find an old man, weathered, his eyes as dark as the bayou itself. He didn't give his name, but his words chilled me to the bone. He said, "You hear them, don't you? The whispers. They've chosen you, child. But tread carefully, for the bayou doesn't give without taking in return." And just like that, he was gone, disappearing into the night as if he had never been there at all. The hermit's warning stayed with me, but so did my curiosity. The next day I followed the whispers to a path, overgrown with vines and had half forgotten by time. Each step felt heavier, as if the bayou itself didn't want me there. The path led me to an abandoned plantation house, its grand facade crumbling under the weight of years. It was a place of stories, of tragedies long buried, but not forgotten. I should have turned back, but I couldn't. The whispers drew me to the edge of the bayou, where the water shimmered like silver under the fading sun. As I waded into the shallows, I felt it, something alive in the water. It wasn't a fish, nor a snake. It was something else, something ancient. That night, under the full moon, I saw them, a group of figures gathered at the edge of the bayou, their faces hidden beneath tattered hoods, They chanted in a language I couldn't understand, their voices rising and falling like the tide. In the center of their circle, the water glowed, pulsing with a rhythm that matched their heartbeat. I stayed hidden, watching as the ritual reached its peak. The whispers were louder than ever, screaming in my ears. I knew that this was no ordinary gathering. They were binding something powerful. As I watched, the dark figure rose from the center of the glowing water. Its form was indistinct, but its presence was overwhelming. The air around me grew heavy, and I could barely breathe. Whatever they were summoning wasn't meant to be seen by mortal eyes. The whispers weren't just voices, they were warnings, and now I realized they were pleading for my help. I jumped into the history of the Bayou, seeking answers in the dusty archives of the local library. I found a story of a child who vanished centuries ago. They said her spirit never left, that she wandered the bayou searching for release. The whispers, they were hers. The carvings in the shack, the ones I couldn't decipher, they were the key. Hidden among old tales and folklore, I found the truth. They weren't just symbols. They were a seal designed to keep something trapped beneath the bayou, something that wanted out. The hermit returned, appearing as suddenly as he had vanished. This time he spoke of a seal and its purpose, of the danger that lay beneath the water. The bayou doesn't forget, child. It remembers pain, betrayal, and the blood spilled to keep the darkness at bay. If the seal breaks, it's not just the bayou that will suffer, the hermit said. He handed me a small carved amulet and whispered, "This will guide you." Before I could ask what he meant, he was gone. That night, the dream came true. Vivid and terrifying. The bayou was ablaze, its water boiling as shadows rose from the depths. I saw myself standing at the heart of it all, holding the amulet as the darkness closed in. I couldn't face this alone. I turned to the townsfolk, but they dismissed my warnings as superstition. Only one person believed me, Claire, a historian who had spent years studying the bayou's mysteries. If the seal's breaking, we need to act fast, but undoing this won't be easy. The spirits won't let you interfere without a fight, said Claire. Claire and I devised a plan, reinforced the seal before it was too late. But to do that, we needed to visit the heart of the bayou, where the seal was the weakest. The whispers grew louder with every step, this urgency pushing us forward. As we paddled deeper into the bayou, the water turned black. Shapes moved beneath the surface, and I felt the weight of unseen eyes watching us. Then it struck. A shadow leaped from the water, knocking us into its depths. I sank into the darkness, the water pulling me deeper. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in the bayou anymore. I was somewhere else, a realm where shadows dance and the whispers were dancing. A voice, deep and ancient, spoke to me from the shadows. It offered a bargain. Leave the seal broken, and I would spare you. But I knew better. Whatever it was, it couldn't be trusted. I refused, and the entity's rage shook the very ground beneath me. Just as I thought all hope was lost, the spirit of the child appeared. Her voice was soft, barely a whisper, but she guided me back to the surface. She wasn't just a victim, she was a guardian. This way. With Claire's help, we began the ritual to reinforce the seal.